Hi, I'm Paul. And this is Paul Catalina's Top 5 Big Ten Quarterbacks, presented by Texas Beef House. Make sure to use our promo code SICK'EM10 to get 10% off your order at checkout. Number 5, and let me tell you, this is a difficult list to do. Most of these guys are transfers, and some of them didn't play all that great last year or played at a non-Power 5 conference, but still potentially good. It's going to be a surprising list. I expect a little bit of pushback on it, but when you think about quarterbacks who have tons of potential, like Aiden Childs at Michigan State or Dylan Raiola at Nebraska, they haven't really played that much yet. Hudson Card, who I almost put on this list, really didn't have that great of a season statistically last year, although I do think he's got a bit of a higher ceiling this year. So, as we dive in, number 5, one of the highest recruited guys in this list, Drew Allar at Penn State. Very efficient quarterback, did not throw a lot of interceptions, did not have a lot of playmakers. And again, Jack just raised his eyebrows when I said that. That is the state of Big Ten quarterbacking. Now, look, he was 9-3. He's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of arm strength. He's got measurables that you like. But when they play teams that have guys that are as good or better than him, they lose those games, and they don't produce on offense, and that's on Drew Allar. But again, I'm giving you the state of Big Ten quarterbacking right now. There's so many freshmen and new guys that the veterans you kind of have to throw on there. This is not the SEC, the ACC, or the Big 12, which actually are pretty quarterback rich and deep. Number 4. Kurtis Rourke in Indiana. Now, he was at Ohio a year ago. He put up big numbers there. He goes to play for Coach Curt Cignetti as he tries to get this program up off the mat. Tons of good numbers, really a dual threat quarterback, a very good passer, but he steps into a much tougher league in a situation in Indiana where he's not going to have the kind of playmakers that you would, have at the same level against the same level of competition that he did in the MAC. But he's a really good player and should show out a little bit for Indiana and Curt Cignetti's offense this year. But again, you see, where I have to pull from is a guy who hasn't even played in the Big Ten yet or on the power conference level as the number 4 quarterback in a league. Number 3. Will Rogers at Washington didn't have a great year last year. Of course, Mississippi State didn't have a great year last year. He was overcoming an arm problem. There was kind of this in and out, and so he decides to transfer. He goes to Washington. But remember, this is a record-setting passer at Mississippi State under Mike Leach. He will step in and be very good at Washington, although that team's in as big of a rebuild as any team in the Power 4 right now, given the draft, the graduation, the coaching change, and all that. But Will Rogers should steady them a little bit in year 1 under Jedd Fisch because he's got a ton of experience. He's a good passer, and he should be healthy. If he's not healthy, though, then again, this list is tough. We had a guy who didn't have his best year last year. Now, the next 2 guys did have good years and good careers under their belt. Number 2. Dillon Gabriel at Oregon. He's been really good at UCF. He's been really good at Oklahoma, and he's probably going to be really good at Oregon. And they've got a great shot to win the Big Ten, even with the big bad boys that are there in their first year in the conference. This is a team that is loaded with talent on both sides of the ball. They've got Evan Stewart for him to throw to, transferring in from A&M. They've got depth all over the place. He should be really, really good for Oregon, and we've seen what he can do in big moments, winning the Texas game. If Dillon Gabriel is healthy, that offense will move at Oregon with Will Stein. It will be great. And Dillon Gabriel, proven winner at 2 other schools, and will be a proven winner at Oregon too, more than likely. And number 1, Will Howard, Ohio State. Why Will Howard over Dillon Gabriel? Well, Will Howard's won a conference title. Will Howard has a bunch of wins. Will Howard's been through a ton of adversity and fought through all of it. Now, he steps into an Ohio State team where he really is the worst player on that offense, and I'm not knocking Will Howard, but they've got wide receivers all over the place. They've got running backs. They've got a great offensive line. They're going to do very, very well this year. They have no excuse not to win the Big Ten. Ryan Day has loaded this team for bear on both sides of the ball, and Will Howard brings the kind of experience and athleticism that Kyle McCord just apparently didn't have for them, even though he only lost 1 game last year as the starter, and that was Michigan, who, really not Kyle McCord's fault they didn't beat. It's mostly Ryan Day's fault that they didn't beat Michigan. or the last 3 years, as a matter of fact. But Will Howard steps in 1 year to help them out, and then they've got a wave of quarterbacks. Aaron Noland, Julian Sand coming after him to battle for that job. But Will Howard is the number one quarterback on this list because he's won big-time college football games in a big-time college football conference when he was at Kansas State. All right, that's going to do it for us. I remembered everyone's name today. Gold star for me. We're wrapping it up right now.